way past the halfway mark for any president in a single term?
Well, mine is a big no. We have not seen a worse regime. You may compare President Moi's regime to President Ruto's regime to some extent, but I think Moi, in his later years, of course I do not know about his early years, of course due to the time he took over when President Kenyatta died, but in his later years, of course he was a little tolerant, more tolerant than Ruto, because, and why I say that is, if you look at President Ruto, his intolerance is at another level. And Nabi will agree with me on this one. That even us, you know, every politician, when they are elected, there are people who are, they are pillars in quotes. No other politician is known to have, you know, kicked out all his pillars. I mean, even we, in our small ways within Nabi here, I mean, you may disagree with one or two people who supported you, especially because sometimes you're not able to meet their expectations and they may not understand. But President Ruto's intolerance of his supporters is at another level. If you look at the people who've supported him, talk of Gachagua, talk of Moses Kuria, talk of Mithika Linturi, talk of Justin Muturi lately.
Do you think that has been his biggest failure?
No. I'm just telling you one of the things. You know, you asked me about, you know, to compare him with some of his, with his predecessors, Ndindi Nyoro, all these people. Nobody, no politician, not even an MCA, has been intolerant to the level at which you know, Ruto has been intolerant of those who supported him so dearly. This is somebody who cannot tolerate the church, and you know he also used the church to a great extent to get to power. So I think for Ruto, it's a rule. I think he only read the rule in the 48 laws of power. He only read the one that says those who make you king must be dispensed with. He does not know how to balance that. And the way I think his administration is so miserable is because at every sphere, look at the economy. And now you're saying that he's claiming that the economy is doing much better. What are the indicators of an economy that is performing, Fred? I mean, it's money in people's pockets. I mean, consumption, which in turn leads to even more growth in the economy, because as people, you know, consume, they spend money. The money circulates in the economy. I mean, because we live here, would you, have we had an administration before Ruto where, you know, money circulation was so low? I mean, where even selling property is becoming a nightmare, where, you know, default in terms of repayment of loans is at the highest. You look at his diplomacy, for example. I mean, you have not had a president associating with known criminals. I mean, talk of Hemedi, talk of the situation in DRC, where the president takes sides. I mean, careless foreign policy. I mean, look at his careless utterance about with the war between Palestine and Israel. I mean, he has messed diplomacy completely. You look at the problems we are having with funding education. We are now being told that the budget has been drastically reduced for education in the finance bill. I mean, and we know the problems that we have with education that have something that has never been seen before. No other president has ever invaded pay slips the way Ruto has invaded pay slips. And look at the housing levy, for example, and I've had opportunity to look at it and think about it. It should have been a housing fund, not a levy, because when you call it a levy, it's a tax. But if it were going to be a fund, it would operate largely like NSSF, where then his argument that you can still get back your money, because that was, remember that was his argument when he was promoting the idea of affordable housing. He was saying that you contribute and you can get this money later on if you want it. But then when it came to this law, it was not passed as housing fund. It was passed as a housing levy. A levy is a tax. You cannot claim, you cannot recollect taxes that you paid. Look at his fight with churches. I've not seen any other president. President Moi, bad as he was painted. It's not right for Africans to talk ill of somebody who is already, deceased. But Moi respected the church. Moi had a good relationship with the church. But for Ruto, he actually used the church, and he knew he was using the church. Once the church, helped him get power, then he showed the church the middle finger. So if you ask me, President Ruto's administration is miserable because of, poor mismanagement of the economy, poor diplomacy, intolerance. And now, by the way, I've heard that clip where he's saying that he's uniting everybody, including cousins. And I want to thank him for following Rigathi Gachagua's politics all the time. When you hear him saying he's uniting even cousins, it's because Rigathi Gachagua has brought a new meaning to this word cousins again. And I thank President Ruto, and we know, those of us in that camp, we know that once we start a function with the Rigathi Gachagua, Ruto stops everything to watch what Rigathi Gachagua is doing. And let me just conclude. And I want to thank you for that. But who is that? Who claims that he is uniting people while he is breaking his own family? While he has kicked out his first wife and all the children, and then he runs to the neighbor and tells the neighbor, I want to unite everybody, brothers, cousins, while he has broken his family.